right, happy Friday, you guys. And today we are making something, oh my gosh, that I have been wanting to make on my channel for a couple years now. So today I am doing it. Yesterday was my son Zack's 20th birthday. And when I FaceTimed with him last night, he didn't care about a birthday cake or anything like that. All he wanted was a sweet treat. So mom is making him a sweet treat. And I have not made this in forever. So it's a good thing I'm making it for him. They can leave the house and then they won't be tempting, because I'm telling you guys are gonna love this. You are gonna love it. So today we are making homemade honey buns, just in time for the holidays, in time for guests coming over. You want a nice sweet treat. You want a sweet treat in the morning if you're serving Danish or scrambled eggs or something like that. Now you'll be able to make them homemade honey buns, except you're not going to be able to eat a store-bought honey bun after this. You're only going to be able to eat homemade because they are amazing. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is scald some milk. Now I'm going to leave a link down below because, of course, in regular Heather fashion, I started scalding my milk and I said, oh, I should have filmed that. But many of you already know how to scald milk. It's an important part, not to interfere with our yeast. I will leave a link down below on why you should scald milk and how to scald milk. I did mine on the stovetop in a pot. You can do it in the microwave. It's a little trickier in the microwave. I find, you know, you gotta stop it and stir it, stop it and stir it. I just like doing it on the stove top. It's just easier. So there is my scalded milk. You can use a candy thermometer to get the temperature. I just wait for it to come down to temperature when it feels like a warm baby bottle. And that's when I know it's ready to go. So right in there is a half a cup of scalded milk. Now I'm gonna write this recipe on the screen for you guys so you can write it down. If I take a screenshot of my recipe, you guys might not understand it. So if anybody wants to type this recipe out, feel free, and I will pin it to the top of the comment section here on this video. But I am going to type it out on the screen for you. So there is a half a cup of scalded milk brought back down to temperature. You want it around the 105 degree mark. And to this, I'm also going to be adding a half a cup of warm water, also around 105 degrees. Now to this, we are going to be adding 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. I'm just going to sprinkle that in there like that. We are also going to be adding a half a teaspoon of sugar to that. Now over here I have 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and again, just like the milk, you want this to come back down to like a room temperature, just slightly warm temperature. And I've got 1 egg yolk, okay, not the whole egg. You don't want any of the egg white, you just want 1 yolk. So I'm gonna put my yolk right into my melted butter. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a beat with a fork, and then I'm going to pour that right into my bowl here. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of give that a nice little stir at the bottom of my bowl. Now to this, we are going to add a half a cup of honey, and I have gone ahead and I sprayed my my measuring cup with some olive oil so that it'll come out of the measuring cup easily. And we're just gonna kind of help this along here. This is a half a cup of honey. Now I use a raw honey that I get from a local beekeeper that is friends with my oldest son, Jake, and his honey is incredible. Now to this, we are gonna go ahead and add, we're going to start with 3 cups of bread flour. Now, if we have to add another 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup, we will. But we are going to start with 3 cups of flour. I do level it before I put it in the bowl. Okay. And then right on top of my flour here, I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. All right, we're gonna lift the bowl up and give this a mix. And don't forget, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, which I almost forgot. So let's get a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon in here. I'm using an organic cinnamon here. Sprinkle that in as well. Don't forget the cinnamon. All right, so I'm going to add just a little bit more flour to this. And grab another 1/4 cup or so. To see if I can't get this to lift off the bowl just a little bit. Now this is going to be a stickier dough because it's a sweet dough, and so we don't want it super dry, but we do want it to at least form a dough ball for us. So I'm going to try that. That was about 1/8 cup I added. Let's see how that does. For me, I just went ahead and added the other 1/8 cup. So I have 3 1/4 cups of flour in here. You're probably going to need between 3 1/4 cups and 3 1/2. That's what my recipe states. So I always like to start safe though, around the 3 cup mark. And you can see this is pretty much lifting off of here. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit more in here to get that lifted off the bottom. And there we go, that's looking beautiful. That's beautiful, perfect. All right, we're gonna start our timer now. We're gonna knead this for 5 minutes. Okay. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. You see that? Exactly what you are looking for. All right, in the meantime, make sure you wipe down your surface. I'm gonna give this a nice dry, and we're gonna roll this out, and then we're gonna let this hang. Our timer is up, and we're gonna go ahead and take this out of the bowl. Get my dough hook out of here. Remove our dough ball here, and it is beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to hand knead this into a ball. Okay, now that I have my dough in a ball, I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil here inside my bowl. I'm going to show you. My bowl is nice and clean. This is from the kneading. All right, and we're going to put our dough ball inside. We're gonna spin it, and then we're gonna flip it, and then I'm gonna put this in my oven under the proof option, and I'm gonna allow this to proof. I'm gonna put a damp, warm tea towel on top of it inside my oven, and I'm gonna allow this to proof. Now I'll come back in an hour and check on it, but because this has so much honey and sugar in it, it's gonna be slow rising dough. So most likely it's gonna be an hour and a half, and it could be 2 hours. So we will come back in an hour. We'll look at it. We'll make a call then. We at least want this to double in size. Okay, guys, so there is our dough. Now, patience is a virtue. It's been rising for an hour and a half. We are going to punch it down and get some of this gas out. Now, it's not going to be like a regular, I guess you'd say, dough, because this is a sweet dough. So, but you just want to make sure it doubles in size. As long as it doubles in size, you're good. All right, let's roll this out and get this divided. I'm gonna go ahead and press this out. Okay, and then when it's pressed out, I'm going to divide it in half, and then in half again. Now you can weigh it. I mean, if you want to do all that, look, I'm just a mom. I'm making some homemade honey buns. Okay, it's just not that, it's not that deep for me. But if you want to weigh out your pieces, you can do that too. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half again. Alright, so you have 8 pieces. That's 8 honey buns that we're going to do. Alright, make sure your counter is nice and clean. Alright, and then what we're going to do, kind of push them out, and then what I do, roll them. Okay, roll them. I'm going to kind of move those pieces over there out of my way. And you want to roll this to about 22 inches. I eyeball this though. Doesn't have to be precise. Okay, hopefully there you guys won't fall. You just want to kind of roll this out, and then from there we're going to shape this just like a honey bun. Okay, so we're going to start, and then kind of shape. And then I'm going to pinch. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit. All right, let me go ahead and pinch this a little bit better. But there we have it, just like a honey bun shape. Okay, so now I'm going to put this on my baking sheet. Okay. So hold on. So now let me get another piece here and roll. And I start, hopefully you guys can see this. Okay. And then pinch. Okay. Well, there you have it. All right, I'm gonna keep making these. And then I'll get them on the cookie sheet, and then I will show you guys what they look like when I'm all done. But fun, right? Especially if you have a honey bun lover in your life. They might appreciate these during the holidays. So, all right, I'm going to get these made before they all start really rising on me, and then we're going to put them in the oven. So we're going to be baking these at 400 degrees. In fact, let me preheat my oven to 400. I have a convection oven, so I'll be using my convection, but regular oven is fine too, 400 degrees, and we're going to be baking these for 20 minutes. Okay. Here are our honey buns. The key is not to wrap them too tight so they don't lift up too high. They're going to lift a little bit, of course, because the dough is still rising. But yeah, that's it. And I always put it on parchment because when you pour the frosting on, the glaze, it's gonna get a little sticky. It's just easier to clean up that way. So, all right. Once my oven hits a 400, I'm gonna pop these in for 20 minutes. And when I bring them out, I will show you guys what they look like. Okay, so while that is in the oven baking, I'm gonna go ahead and we are gonna make the frosting. All right, so this is gonna be 2 cups of powdered sugar. So I've got a 1/2 cup measure here. So we are just going to pop that right in here. Okay, try to get you in the bowl a little bit more so you can see. And wipe my mess as I go here. All right, so there is 2 cups of powdered sugar. Now to that we are going to be adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I make my own homemade bourbon vanilla, so we're going to be using that. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of that right inside there. So we're also going to be adding about 1 tablespoon of honey. So you can go ahead and measure that out if you want. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Okay, and then to this we are going to be adding between 4 and 6 tablespoons of whole milk. So we're going to start with 4. And then we'll see from there if we need to add any more. So I'm going to go ahead and lift my bowl up. And we'll get you in here. And go ahead and give this a mix. So I ended up adding probably a 1/4 cup more of powdered sugar to this because I like mine a little bit thicker of a consistency. You want to beat this really well though. And that's the consistency I like. Nice and thick. It reminds me of a honey bun. And so, yeah, that's the way I like mine. So I'm just gonna let this sit here and rest until it's time to put it on our honey buns. Okay, here they are, fresh out of the oven. Now we're gonna let them cool, and then right when they're still a little warm, but they're cooled down, not this hot, because if you put your icing on now, it'll just melt right off. But once these start cooling and they're still just a little bit warm, we'll go ahead and put this icing on it, and then let them sit up. All right, so I'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes or so. Should mention that if you notice that your honey buns are a little pointy or center heavy, just take a little spatula while they're really warm and just give them a nice gentle pat down. I'm gonna go ahead and put mine on a rack here and then let them cool on a rack. Right, there we go. And so I have it on a towel with several sheets of parchment paper underneath. And so yeah, so pretty much if it's a little high like this and you want them a little flatter, just give them a nice little push down just to kind of flatten them out a little bit. You want to do that though when it's warm. They won't really stay down if it's cool. So just a little love tap. That's it. While I'm waiting for these to cool, I did just tap a little bit of butter on them, a little bit of a little brushing, just to keep these nice and soft so that they don't have like a crunchy crust on them. So just a little bit of butter just to keep them nice and soft. Okay, so here we go. Now these are slightly warm, but they have cooled down, and I'm gonna try to do this where I'm not getting in the way of with my bowl because I'm right-handed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to use a little honey dripper. Maybe I might just might use a spoon, might be easier. Let's try a spoon. So you want these slightly warm because you want the glaze to stay on it, but you also want it to be able to drip and get smooth, which is the real trick to making these pretty. I'm gonna get a little bit on this little guy right here. That's why you also want your frosting a little bit thicker. That's why I increased it just a little bit on the sugar. So right there is our honey bun. Now I did want to note I used my homemade vanilla bourbon, my bourbon vanilla, homemade bourbon vanilla. If you don't want a slightly alcohol taste to it, they do make clear vanilla extract. It does not contain alcohol in it. I just wanted to do that as a side note because sometimes I get asked. I'm trying to think of all the questions I get asked. So look at that. Look at that. And then it's just going to drip ever so gently down the sides. So you want them warm, but not too warm, because if it's too warm, that glaze will kind of disappear on you. Look at that, right? Sorry if I'm juggling. Sorry if I'm making you jiggle too much. I don't know how else better to get you guys to see what I'm doing easily here. Zack is going to love these. Look at that. So pretty, right? Okay, let me get these other 4 iced and then I will bring you back and I'll show you guys what they look like. All right, there we go. Honey buns. Honey buns. Just in time for the holidays, right? Can make these, I don't know, Christmas morning. Here's the thing. If you did want to make these, you can make them the night before, okay? And then after you let the dough rise, and you punch it down, roll it in a ball, and stick it in the fridge. And then bring it out the next morning, flatten it out, slice it into your 8 pieces, and then you can go ahead and bake them up from there if you want to make them the night before. I never make anything the night before, so that's just not something that I do. But that's what you would do if you want to give it a try that way. So this and a cup of coffee on Christmas morning. Of course, I can't have it because, you know, I tried to stay away from sugar as much as I can. But for people that aren't staying away from sugar, this is a nice little treat. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Guys, we are getting so close to 70,000 subscribers. And Matt, when he asked me what I wanted for Christmas, I said, I want 70,000 subscribers. So share this video if you like it. And yeah, maybe I'll get my Christmas wish with 70,000 subscribers for Christmas. Yay. Anyway, all right guys, if you give this a try, comment down below, let me know what you think. And I do hope you really enjoyed this. Aren't they pretty? They're just really pretty. So now I'm just gonna let them set up and then I will pack them away and I will send them down to my son Zack for his birthday. And Eric, you better be nice to your brother if you want one of these. All right guys, I'll be seeing you soon. Bye guys.